The Mermaid under the Coral Reef. Beneath the wavy blue sea, under a curly coral roof, lived Mira the little mermaid. Her tail flashed coral pink when she twirled. She loved to hum soft songs and collect tiny sea treasures. Every morning, she greeted the reef like a friend. Fish peeked from bright coral windows. Seaweed waved hello like a green curtain. Mira pressed her palm to a tidy rock and smiled. Today the reef felt extra quiet. She wondered whether a new adventure was swimming nearby. Her hairband shell tapped twice, like a tiny asking knock. Mira set off, curious and careful. Nearby, Finn the striped fish bubbled excitedly. He loved to race Mira around coral towers and hide in tiny caves. Finn zipped through arches and puffed playful bubbles that tickled Mira's nose. They played peekaboo with anemone curtains and counted tiny shells on the sand. On a shelf of purple coral, something small winked like a new star. It was a pale shell with a soft golden heart. The glow shell hummed a tiny tune. Mira reached out gently. Finn circled in delight. The quiet reef felt like it had a secret to tell them both. When Mira lifted the little shell, the water filled with a warm, whispery sound. The glow shell glowed like a pocket of sunset. It whispered, not in words that stung, but in gentle sea songs. The reef needs a tiny helping hand. Mira's fingers tingled with a warm friend feeling. Finn bobbed and listened. The shell's light pointed like a finger toward a quiet lane between two coral towers. Mira could feel the reef breathing softly. Something small and sad was waiting. She knew the kind of help that made things shine again. A small, kind, brave try. Mira decided to follow the shell's light. She called to friends, Starry the sea star who hugs coral with steady arms, and Octo the octopus who paints tiny coral sprouts every morning. They gathered beneath a waving fern of seaweed. Starry clapped with 5 bright arms, and Octo waved a paintbrush arm happily. The reef felt like a neighborhood where everyone came out to help. They packed tiny tools, a ribbon, some kelp ties, and a brave song. Finn led with bubbly wiggles. The glow shell glowed brighter, like a little lamp through the reef's leafy streets. The road under the reef wiggled like a friendly maze. Seaweed tickled their fins and made them giggle. Bright fish peeked from holes and offered directions with flutters. They followed tiny footprints of sand and shells that glowed faintly where the glow shell shone. Along the path, they met a shy seahorse who had lost his song. He breathed quiet and tiny. Mira leaned close and hummed a lullaby. Starry held his tail steady. The seahorse blinked, and for a second, he remembered a bright tune about coral birthdays. He brightened and decided to come along. They came to a shadowed nook where colors felt quieter. The glow shell made a soft path of light on the sand. Octo reached out with many arms to help part a curtain of soft feather coral. Tiny shy fish huddled inside, and Mira sang a soft tune. The tunnel smelled like rain after a very small wave. Somewhere deeper, there was a hush, like someone holding their breath. The friends held hands, fins and arms linked, and moved slowly so the reef would not fright. Together, they were brave in the kindest ways. At the heart of the quiet, they found a tiny coral sprout wrapped in a gray net. The net was small, but it hugged the sprout and made its colors sleep. The reef's breath slowed. Mira's heart fluttered. This felt like the reason the glow shell had shone. Finn zipped around, trying to find an edge. Octo used a clever arm to hold a ribbon while Starry steadied the sprout. Together, they worked slowly and gently. The net did not want to be mean, it was old and tired. With careful tugs and kind words, they loosened a loop. Then, with a soft, joyful pull and a tiny cheer, the net slipped free. The coral sprout stretched like it woke from a long nap. Colors poured back, pink, gold, and tender green, like paint spilled in the nicest way. The reef breathed deep and sang tiny sparkles of sound. The seahorse sang a bright note that rolled like a pearl. Mira clapped with her hand and tail. Finn made a bubble crown. Octo painted a stripe of bright blue on a shell. Starry gave the sprout a 5-arm hug. The water felt full of thank you lights. The glowshell hummed a happy song and floated back to its small bed in a purple coral nook. Mira thought it wanted to rest where it would be safe and warm. They tucked it in gently, and the little shell gave a last golden wink. The reef glowed like a patchwork blanket. Old fish came out and told small thank you stories. Even the seaweed waved slower now, as if yawning. Mira learned that tiny hands and brave little friends could fix big-sounding problems. Finn bumped her tail in a silly hug. The reef felt like a house everyone loved. That night, the waves hummed a soft bedtime song. Stars above the sea peeked through the water like shy silver buttons. Mira curled on a sleepy sandbank with Finn curled near her fin. Octo painted a sleepy picture for the reef, and Starry rested on a warm coral branch. The reef told quiet jokes in bubble whispers and promised to keep each other safe. The glowshell glowed faintly, like a night lamp. Mira closed her eyes and thought of how small kindnesses glow for a long time. She dreamed of tomorrow's little adventures and the friends she would meet again.